Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. This genuinely fascinating idea that the invisible world is actually way more real than we give it credit for. We're going to take a journey into these unseen dimensions that literally dictate almost every aspect of our lives. Honestly, if you've ever had that nagging feeling that there's just more out there beyond the physical universe, something operating just behind the scenes of our daily routines, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let me start by asking you a question that might just flip your whole perspective. Most of us go through life fully trusting only what's right in front of us. If we can see it, measure it, or touch it, boom, it's real. But is the world you're looking at with your physical eyes just a tiny, tiny fraction of actual reality? What if everything material around you is literally just one piece of a much, much larger puzzle? Think about your own life for a second. Have you ever had this sudden, inexplicable gut feeling that turned out to be spot on? Or maybe a bizarre coincidence that just completely stopped you in your tracks? We tend to brush those moments off, right? But what if the invisible world isn't just some abstract philosophy? What if it's an active, ongoing reality that is far more real than we even realize? Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Beyond the Visible Curtain, the Illusion of Sight. There is this wild contrast between how much we rely on the physical world and the absolute undeniable fact that unseen realities exist all around us. We are obsessed with the material universe because, well, it's safe, it's visible, measurable, touchable, it's our comfort zone. But consider this, physics actually tells us that all the visible matter out there makes up only about 5% of the universe. The rest, completely invisible to us. And even closer to home, think about your emotions. You can't put love or hope or wisdom under a microscope, but there's no way you'd say they aren't real. Reality has always been a mix of the visible and the completely invisible. Moving on to Section 2, Unseen Forces of Reality, the Science of the Unseen. Let's step away from human emotions and look at hard physics for a minute. Can you see gravity? Of course not. But it is literally holding you in your chair right now and keeping planets in perfect orbit. How about radio waves? Nope. Yet right this very second, invisible Wi-Fi waves are passing right through your body to stream this explainer. These are massively powerful, scientifically proven forces that dictate modern life, and they are 100% invisible to the naked eye. So, here's the real kicker. In a lot of ancient and philosophical traditions, the invisible world isn't treated like it's millions of miles away in some distant galaxy. It's right here. It's layered right on top of our physical world. The issue isn't distance at all. The issue is perception. We just don't have the biological sensory equipment to pick up on it. I love this example because it so perfectly highlights our blind spots. Imagine living way back before the radio was invented. If you told a farmer in the 1800s that invisible signals were constantly floating through the air, carrying people's voices from across the world, they'd think you were absolutely crazy. But those signals were real. The technology to detect them just hadn't been built yet. Which really makes you stop and ask, what other realities are surrounding us right now that we just haven't learned how to perceive? Are we just missing the right receiver? When you realize we have this huge gap in our perception, it kind of reframes everything. Just like we eventually figured out how to build receivers for radio waves, it makes you wonder, are things like powerful intuition, moments of perfect timing, or sudden strokes of genius actually just us tuning into a frequency that science hasn't caught up with yet? Could there be major influences operating just below the surface of our day-to-day lives? This brings us perfectly to Section 3, Invisible Drivers of Humanity, Shaping Civilizations. Let's think about human behavior for a second, and the actual building blocks of our society. I'm talking about beliefs, values, purpose, identity, faith. You can't hold a belief in the palm of your hand. You definitely can't weigh a moral value on a scale, and yet an entirely invisible concept, take human rights, for example, has the power to topple empires and completely restructure the world. The truth is, our entire civilization has been built almost entirely on invisible ideas. Which leads us to this really profound realization. The invisible almost always governs the visible. Think about it. Your life is very rarely shaped just by the external stuff happening to you. Mostly, your path is dictated by your internal realities. And those internal realities are, by their very nature, completely unseen. And honestly, this is not some new, modern revelation. For thousands of years, millions of people across completely different cultures and traditions have reported the exact same thing. This deep understanding that the visible world actually stems from an unseen source.
Whether it's accounts of divine presence, spiritual messengers, or unseen realms, this is a shared human experience. Sure, people interpret it differently, but the core idea is incredibly consistent. Reality is way, way bigger than what we can see.
We see this play out in our own lives all the time, especially when it comes to finding fulfillment. We burn so much energy chasing physical things, wealth, status, the newest gadgets, and yet so many people get all that and still feel totally empty. Why is that? It's because human beings are hardwired for invisible needs, meaning, purpose, connection. Those unseen things actually matter so much more than what's in our bank accounts. Someone with a deep, invisible sense of purpose can survive unthinkable physical hardships, while someone with zero purpose can completely fall apart, even if they have all the money in the world. All right, let's head into our final part, Section 4, The Universe Within You, the Ultimate Invisible World. This is where things get incredibly personal and, frankly, super powerful. The most intense invisible world isn't just floating around out there in space. It's literally woven right into you. It's the universe inside your own head. Your thoughts, your imagination, your dreams, your deepest convictions, every single one of them is invisible. I can't see your thoughts, you can't see mine. But those exact unseen forces are what dictate how you choose, how you grow, who you love, and ultimately, the person you're going to become. There's this fantastic idea that every achievement begins as an invisible thought. I love that because it perfectly explains the mechanics of how reality works. Every single groundbreaking invention in history, it started as an invisible idea in someone's brain. Every massive life change you've ever made started as a quiet, unseen internal decision. Before anything can ever show up in the physical world, it absolutely has to exist in the invisible one first. When you map this out, it's actually pretty wild. It's a clear, undeniable progression. It starts as a totally unseen idea, it hardens into a conviction, and then, and only then, does it actually manifest as a real physical transformation out in the world, which proves that the most powerful drivers of your physical reality are already invisible. We get so distracted by the visible world, but it's the invisible world that's actually steering the ship. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Reality is just so much richer and deeper than what our physical senses can pick up on. There are mysteries out there we don't understand yet, dimensions we haven't explored, and possibilities we haven't even dreamed of. Not everything real can be seen, and definitely not everything valuable can be measured. So, what mysteries and dimensions exist just beyond the reach of your physical eyes? Keep that curiosity alive, stay humble, and keep yourself open to the massive, hidden potential inside you and all those unseen realities operating around us every single day. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey.